Hello friends, this is Richa Srivastav and you're watching my channel Law Crazy. Today let us discuss about Uniform Civil Code. You must have heard about it in news items. But what it is actually, let us try to understand today what Uniform Civil Code is all about. Friends, law is either criminal or it is civil. If it relates to some crime or some criminal activity, then it comes under the category of criminal law. But in all other cases, in rest of the cases that do not relate to any kind of crime or criminal activity, they relate to civil cases or civil laws. Okay? So what is Uniform Civil Code? It definitely relates to civil laws, not criminal laws. Criminal laws are mostly governed by Indian Penal Code in our country, that is the substantive law on crime, and evidence law and criminal procedure code. The latter two are related to procedural laws, and that's a different thing. What is substantive and procedural law, that I will explain in another video. But basically these are the laws that relate to crime in our country, and they are applicable to you. They have already been imposed on you, right? You are subject under these laws just by the fact that you are an Indian. If you are an Indian, irrespective of the grounds, like from what religion you belong, from what territory you belong, from what race, from what gender you belong, these criminal laws are applicable on you generally, right? There are some reservations, but generally you can say that irrespective of these kind of factors, criminal law is applicable on you. But if we see civil law, because civil law is very vast, like there are laws related to property, there are laws related to your personal customs and traditions, right? So Uniform Civil Code relates to somewhat this type only. Things that relate to your traditions, your practices, your customs, like marriage, separation, divorce, and inheritance, transfer of property. Like things overlap, but basically personal laws are the things that are not criminal, but they relate to subjects like your marriage, your inheritance, division, transfer of property, all such sorts of things. So what happened that initially like there were two major religions in this country, Hindus and Muslims. Of course there were Christians, there were Parsis, and there were Sikhs, but basically major religions, there were only two, Hindus and Muslims. And if you read the Hindu law, the codified Hindu law, Sikhs and Jains and such sections are branches of a bigger tree, that is Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma, you can say. So what happened that initially everyone was being governed by their scriptures and their texts. Like if we talk about Hindus, we were governed by smritis and shrutis, right? And Muslims were governed by their Quran and Sunnat and Hadith. So progressively what happened later in time, what happened that Hindus' personal laws were no more left to be governed by the scriptures or the texts, the ancient texts. The Hindus, the laws of Hindus were codified. Codification means that laws were made on those subjects like on marriage, on inheritance, on succession, or all such things. And then now what is the case? Now how these things will be governed? It won't be governed by the ancient texts now. Now what the law says on that particular subject, what the codified law says on that subject, that thing will prevail. But in case of Muslims especially, and I'm not sure that it only relates to Muslims or other religions also, but even if it relates to only Muslims also, what is the case? That out of fear of retaliation, in past our leaders did not try to codify their personal laws, because like in Hinduism also, some of the traditions that were going on since ages and ages, they needed to be rectified or reformed in some manner, because as times change, people change, their habits change, their customs, their traditions, everything does not change like 180 degrees, but slight changes are always there with time. And as time progresses, changes are like compulsory, you cannot avoid them. But what happened to like Muslims, they never it's not their fault actually, it's the fault of the leaders. They could not convince the people that as per the changing of time, laws also need to be changed. So what is the case now? Even today, most part of their personal laws are governed by their original sources, like their Quran and their Sunnat. And there is no, as on date, there is no like complete codification on their personal subjects, personal law subjects, like their marriage, their inheritance, their succession, their transfer of property. Everything is being governed by their ancient text and the practices and traditions of their prophet. Just like Hindus or other groups, we have now codified laws. We now don't follow the ancient texts. Our laws have been codified, and that is why you see that like, just take an example, a popular example of marriage. Like earlier what used to happen, that Hindus also used to marry many women, men used to marry many women, and in some parts of country you will also see that women also practice polyandry. They also have husbands at a time, many husbands. But that practice has now stopped. Stopped means it is now illegal. I'm not saying that people don't do it anymore. People do it, but it is now not legal. In the eyes of law, only one marriage is legal and sustainable at a time. It's not that you cannot marry another person, you can, but at a time, at the time of existence of one marriage, you cannot remarry another person, right? But in the case of like Muslims, in their religion, men can marry 4 women at a time. I'm not saying that they do this, that they practice it. They don't do it, in fact. And that is why it is important to implement the change in a new code, right? So what happens that even if they do it, I'm not saying that they do it, but if they do it, there is no law to like curb that practice. They are free to do that, right? So what Uniform Civil Code will do? It will be a new code meant for everyone, irrespective of your religious background or whatever background you have. It will be applicable on each and every Indian, and whatever practices related to marriage, succession, transfer property, all civil matters, all personal law matters, everything will be there, and everyone will be governed by that law. It will not be like that if I am a Hindu, I have different law imposed on me, and if my friend, she is Muslim or she is Christian or she is Sikh, so they will have different kind of laws applicable on them. It will be uniform. So don't you think it is necessary that we belong to one country, and like criminal law, all of us are governed by same criminal laws. If I commit a crime, or a person related to another religion, he or she also commits a crime, we will be punishable likewise in the same manner. So why not this thing should also be implemented into personal laws? Like personal law things should also be governed by same and uniform laws. So in that way we can attain kind of greater level of unity and oneness and uniformity, and that is the idea behind uniform civil code. So guys, this was my explanation on uniform civil code. It's not a technical explanation, it was general explanation to lay people who can also understand that what uniform civil code is all about. So I am just a law enthusiast who likes to make videos on subjects related to laws. Do like, share, subscribe my channel, and if you want to see more videos and more content related to law, do advise me on my comment section, and you're free to give any kinds of suggestions. But for that, first of all, we need to grow my channel, and this is the favor I am asking from you people. So please do help me and like, subscribe and share my channel. And until next video, bye bye.